Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fabulous Craft Your Life podcast. We are so fortunate this month to have with us a very special guest, Aditi Mahajan. And you've seen her everywhere, probably, but you've seen her around Altenew a lot. So we're excited to get to know a lot more about Aditi. Welcome, Aditi.
Thank you, Bridget. Happy to be here.
We're so excited to find out so much more. We see your beautiful projects out and about in the fan group and other sites as well. So we're excited to find out how this all started. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I live in India, as many people already know. And by profession, I'm a psychologist and a healer. So I do practice that part. But now art, card making and crafting has become my job. So I think it's just taken over, or somewhere I'm trying to bridge the two together, creating this therapeutic environment where art is fostered and, people see it more of a healing tool rather than just any hobby. That's where I am at. So yeah, I am married. I live with my husband, Rajiv, and it's just the two of us. So we recently moved cities and it's still new for me. By recently, I mean 2 years or 3 years. And see, it's still new for me. And I
thought you meant like last month. I was like, oh, wow.
It's that recent in my memory. And so that's just a little about me, I would say.
And so I think that's really important, right? You make such an important point, is that almost every crafter you talk to suffers from, or deals with, shall we say, suffers is such a strong negative word, but copes with either depression, anxiety, PTSD, just stress that leads to needing to have this therapeutic outlet. And I think that's so important, is that it's not just a hobby for so many of us. It is our therapy. It is what keeps us grounded. It is what keeps us happy, just in our own selves and bodies, and safe in our own mind and space and everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, when did you start crafting?
That's a good question. So my mom is an artist by profession. So that influence of art has been there all my life. And but officially getting into like this crafty industry, it's been about 12 or 13 years now.
So basically in utero, you were thinking of color combinations and layouts, and you were ready.
Yeah, I was ready, but a little about how I started, I could give you that, which is a funny story. So my last job as a psychologist was in a school back in Bangalore. And I decided I need to take a break. I want to quit my full-time job because it was just too much for me. I used to wake up at 5 a.m., and then I used to come back. There was no time for anything. And then it was an international school setup, and we would do like giving our colleagues favors, just, a send-off thing. So I made keychains for everybody. I doodled. So back then I used to do a lot of Zentangling, and I, got these cutouts in the shape of a fish or turtle, things like that. And I doodled over it and I gave it as gifts, and people were like, wow, oh my God, this is so amazing. People went crazy. And then my mom and we were like, this could be a start of something. So we started off as a home decor business company, making handmade products, anything that you see around home, selling those before getting into the blogging and crafting part of it. So that's how I started officially.
Now, your use of color is so vibrant, expressive. What do you think influences like your color choices and your style?
I think culture. India is filled with color. Anywhere we go, our festivals are colorful. Our fabric is colorful. The streets are colorful. Everything is so colorful. So I think it's ingrained. Like it comes so naturally to me, simply because I see that everywhere. And I've said this many times. Sometimes the bed sheet inspires me. Sometimes the curtains inspire me. Sometimes I just go to a fabric store to look at fabric for inspiration. So that's what it is. cover.
I remember in AECP, Aram used to suggest that. She's like, if you're stuck for color choices, look up Pakistan, look up India. You're going to see color combinations you've never seen, but they work. They go together. Like somebody's thought of this, right? They don't put it on fabric if it doesn't work. So, somebody's already taken the guesswork out of it. So it may be like shocking as a combination to you, but somebody's already like done this. Like, so you're good. You can use that color combo. So that's a great idea because so many people do struggle with color choices and feeling confident in that. And a great segue, you have something happening next month that we're very, very excited about, something called Chromatic Harmony, I think. So what's exciting? This is your first full class. You've done lots of 101 classes in Altenew Academy, but it's your first big, full, all on your own kind of class. What's so exciting about creating this class?
You see, I can't stop smiling. That class itself, the name, the class, everything about it is so exciting. It's very close to me, like you said, because it's my first full complete class for Altenew Academy. But next, because it's my love for color. It's all about color. Me trying to inspire people to pick color combinations, but working from the basics, basically the foundation. So I am going to just pick colors based on the color wheel, do different color combinations. Of course, we have techniques, we have inks, watercoloring, we have all of that, but it's in detail about how to pick your colors, what color works with what color. And I think starting people off on this process of color experimentation, giving them a solid foundation so that when they take this class, which has about 6 lessons, when they leave this, they are definitely going to be inspired to use color in ways they haven't before. That's my idea with it.
And that's, I think, one of the most scary things as a crafter, right? Because you have your beautiful stamp, we have layering guides, right? We have inks, you have videos on how to use them. But color theory is, everybody can throw color theory at you, but usually it's in such a way that's so, trying to think of I can't think of the right word. Basically, it's a college level color theory that you're hearing, and you're in kindergarten. You just want to know how to pick colors for your card, man. You don't need the whys, the ins, the outs. I mean, it's good to know that too. And maybe someday we'll have a class with that in Altenew Academy. You never know. But, for now, but that's the thing I think is great, is helping people pick the colors. Because I think, is that a question? You must get that a lot because your colors are so vibrant.
I do. I mean, I think in every class I teach, it's about how did I decide that color combination? Truthfully speaking, I don't know. To me, colors come, right? I visualize in colors. If I close my eyes, I can visualize the colors and I know this combination is going to work, like I said, because it's ingrained in me. But now when I was working on creating this class, I realized probably somewhere down the line, way back ahead, maybe when I was a kid, when my mom used to paint, I have that foundation of the color theory and referencing the color wheel. And it happens intuitively for me. But using that as a tool, I think it's just going to help people sort of take out the why, the what, and just dive into, okay, this color combination works. Let me go by with that.
Now, if somebody's feeling intimidated and this is too much for me, I can't do this class. That's no. So what would you say to those that are feeling intimidated by choosing colors and putting them together well?
Well, firstly, I don't think there's anything to be intimidated about because I'm actually going to break it down and take it in simple steps, telling you how you could work, even if it's a single color family, just creating with it. But again, I'm going to go back and reference the fact that we are going to touch upon the color wheel and go through the foundations just so that the whole process becomes simple for you.
Now, what's your favorite part of teaching and what do you hope to inspire in your students?
Favorite part about teaching? I mean, I love teaching in general. The favorite part would be people interacting with everybody, that community when I'm teaching, that, that engagement that we have to and fro conversation, and how people take it all in. So the most important thing that I like or I think about inspiring people with is, it could be a technique, it could be a color combination, but above all, it's just picking out your supplies and creating something. I think that in itself is a big thing.
It's amazing. You guys, I've seen the cards. I mean, they're just like, I keep using that mind blown emoji because like each one is like, you think like this is going to be my favorite. And then another one comes, you're like, oh, and so, yeah. So if you haven't signed up yet, please check out the class. We're very excited to have Aditi share this color journey with us. When we had color journey, like immediately, like you said, the colors just pop into your head. Your face popped into our head with color journey. We definitely think of you always with color. So yes, we definitely think that. Okay, I'm looking off to my side. I'm not trying to be rude, but I do have questions for Aditi, and we tried to change them up a little bit this month to get them so you're not like, okay, I know what question she's asking next. So we're changing them up a little bit. So I keep looking to the side. So I'm trying not to be rude to our fabulous audience and Aditi, but that's what I'm looking at. So I do have a cheat sheet here on the side. Okay, so let's see. Oh, yes, this one. So mixed media, your mixed media is fantastic. Mm-hmm. How did you get into mixed media and doing the mixed media? Did it come very naturally to you? How did that all work?
So when we began the home decor, it started with doodling and decoupage. But we wanted to step it up. And that's when it was my mom who found this person doing in-person mixed media classes. And she used to teach, I think, art journaling back then. We just went for one workshop and then there was no looking back. We replicated like the techniques. She introduced us to a few products, and YouTube has been my teacher. Back in the day, Tim Holtz was the mixed media guru. And
yes,
we have watched plenty of videos, learned about the products. And what we did was we learned techniques, but used it on, say, trinket boxes, on tissue box holders, things like that for home decor. And it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing that we could do that. But from there, because I started learning about products, I realized there are blogs, there are blog challenges. And then that was my official entry into this whole world of mixed media per se. Getting to know all these various brands and then, just understanding, oh, this exists, that exists, paper crafts exist. There's so much more that we can do with it. So,
and there is, I mean, there's so much out there, and especially if you like shine and shimmer. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shine and shimmer in the world for crafters. We seem to like shine and shimmer because we're like mermaids. We're like, ooh, shiny, we all kind of go that way. So
that's true.
Now, do you have a memorable crafting project that has impacted you creatively or personally?
If I look back through my journey, back in the day, this is just when Altenew had begun, there were two blogs that they used to run, a card blog and a scrapbooking mixed media blog. And we were a big fan of creating layouts, mixed media layouts. So my memories they go back to that when we used to use Altenew products to create layouts, participate in the sketch challenges, and win every month. So that was just something that I always enjoyed looking back. And so many of those layouts with my own photo, my mom's photo, but they worked.
That's an excellent memory. I like that memory. That's great. I love that. I like that. We win every month. We won every month. Now, how did you find Altenew in this big, beautiful crafting world?
So, again, going back to that time, it wasn't easy to buy supplies, firsthand. So we were a part of a lot of these de-stash groups where people would just sell used products. Mm-hmm. And one girl told my mom that I have Altenew stamps, and we weren't familiar with the brand, and we were like, what's that? She met us, she showed us. It was the layered stamps, Beautiful Day, Puny something, the vintage roses and vintage flowers, those were our first stamp sets. And she was like, well, if you're getting into this is the brand, the layered stamps, nobody does this. And we were like, wow, okay. So then that's how we started. And then there was no looking back. Like there was no stop from there.
Once you meet Altenew, it's like being at the top of the ski hill. You're going in. You're going in. It's all so pretty,
Like,
and it's also
I still
beautiful.
till date have those mini ink cubes which were black, not white.
Yes.
So I still use those.
And you may see some in the video. They may pop up. You never know when one's going to sneak in. You'll just be watching. It's like, oh, an old fella, because now we have the beautiful rounds. We've moved from I don't have an oval near me. They're on the other side of the room now because all my rounds are by my side. So, but yeah, those were the first cubes. I was going to ask you because that was my thing. I got the stamp set, and then I was like, oh gosh, I got to get the inks because with the layering, it was so unique. Like other companies, you couldn't get 4 inks that were close enough to really do the layered stamping. So you needed those 4 inks to do that. And then
we did. I remember Summer Afternoon, Red Cosmos, the green with the evergreen and jet black, and one blue. These were our 4 sets that we started off with.
After a while, it's hard in the beginning too, because you kind of look at them and you're like, I can never look at these colors again, because that's all you're using, right? You're like, I need a new set. I need something new. So, but those sets, that was the exciting part. Like it was something nobody else, and it was genius because when you were done, it looked like a flower you could touch. Like it was amazing, and it was something that nobody else had back then.
True. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I've always loved about Altenew is innovation. Like they're always coming out with something, that is setting a good bar, a good tone, like the layering stamps. And I mean, the layering stencils they've come out with and the dies, and it just, all of it's just very innovative. And you're like, I need this in my life because it just makes it a better and happier crafty place.
You just need it.
You just need it. You do. Okay. How do you think your crafty journey has evolved over the years? And what do you think are some lessons that you've held close to you over the years?
I mean, it's evolved as in I've grown. My craft has gotten better, definitely. And I think it's all about practice. The more you create, I think when I look back, if I pick projects 10 years ago, 12 years ago, even the color combinations weren't as they are today. The compositions weren't what they are today. So I have grown constantly. And back then, I was proud of that work. But today, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's by me. Thank God I haven't signed it. But I still have kept those pieces because I think it's a reminder of how we're always growing and evolving. When you were going to be constant. And the lesson that has stayed with me is to keep at it. There have been points of highs and lows. And one point when I was only in mixed media teams, from there to bring my mixed media lessons into card making and doing something with it. I'm very proud of that as well. So just keeping at it, sticking through, experimenting and playing. Above all, just being able to play for myself. That's something that I really keep close to my heart.
And I think it's hard too for beginners because they're at the start of their journey. And I think it's hard when you're there because you don't want to be there. You want to be with everybody else's, and you want to be up there, and you want to be in it. And, Amy Rasavi always says, never compare your day 1 to somebody's day 10,000, and that's, I think, unfortunately, the side of social media that can be hard, right? Is that you're just starting out and you're looking at all these beautiful projects and you're like, I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to get there. And, you want it. We want it now. We want it now. We don't want to wait. We want to be good now. We want to be, where we're happy. And that's the thing. When I say good, I mean in your own eyes. So just keep that in mind. If we talk about being good or skilled, or it's what you're happy with, do it until you're proud. That's my theory. Do it until you're proud, because that's all that matters. Right. But yeah, some days I do wish that my blog would just delete a certain section because I look back and I'm like, I wanted to brag about that, man. Come on. But it's important, right? It is. It's, you look back and you're like, I remember the day I created that card
Yes.
and I was so proud of myself because I heat embossed,
Mhm.
or I was so proud because I layered this stuff together and I flipped this stamp upside down. So there's something that I think when we look back on all those, even the scary projects, that we remember, and that's part of who we are, now, and what makes us today. So I think that's really important. It is important to love all parts of your journey, even the like the 80s hairstyle parts, I've been watching 80s movies and we had some rough hairstyles in the 80s in the US. I don't know if they spread across to India or not, but they were rough. Oh, okay. Now this always happens. This happens to the best of us, right? Creative blocks. What do you do when those pop up for you?
So I have a policy for myself. Say I'm feeling uninspired or blocked, I give myself a day or two at the max where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I will take a break.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my body telling me I need rest and I listen to it.
Yes.
But after the second day, if the third day I'm still in that rut, then I try to go back and look at some of my recent projects. I go to Pinterest and look for inspiration. Just, it could be anything. It's not somebody else's work, but it could be a color palette. It could be an element. It could be anything. And I look at these two things. If everything is failing, I just, like I said, I open my wardrobe and look at the fabrics, the colors, which is, I am known to wear colorful dresses too. I look at that. And I think color inspires me. So when I have a color palette, I then come into my studio and I look at the product. So I will look at, say, which stamp or craft of flower dyes, which of them, something just staying put on my table, anything that inspires me, that tells me, oh, this color palette and this product is going to go well together. I just break into it. I don't think too much. I just start. Either I open the stamp and start by stamping, pull out inks, do a simple ink blending, just so I feel happy, and that just sets me right in the mood for it.
Now, do you have a technique that, I think I know what the technique would be, but I have my guess. Do you have a technique that if you have a block, like it's going to make you happy, it's going to inspire you?
Mm-hmm.
Which one's that?
Oh, right now to ink blending.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Inks, just pull out inks and ink blend, or even watercoloring. I love my watercolor brush markers. I just love them.
It's I always think of Tracy every time I hear watercolor brush markers. So I always think of Tracy, like the second her face pops into my head, because she loves those too. She very passionate about the watercolor brush markers, but they are so pigmented. I love them. Now, do you use them a lot just as watercolor brush markers, or do you do a lot of other things with them?
I use them to splatter. I use them as just simple watercoloring. I do different kinds of watercoloring techniques with them itself. Yep. So smooshing backgrounds, ink smooshing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They make such beautiful backgrounds because they are so pigmented. And even if you get water on them, like they're still like, they're bright, they're beautiful. Yeah. So if you haven't checked those out, guys, go check out the watercolor brush markers. They also have liquid refills, so they're refillable, which is great. You don't have to buy the original product again. You can refill them. So fantastic. Absolutely love those. So do you keep a notebook with colors, or is this just something that's you kind of keep it, like file it away in your head, or do you have an actual system for remembering all your color combos?
Oh, no, it's filed in my head. I don't have any actual system for color combos, but I highly recommend color swatches. Any product, any form of product that you get. I mean, now I don't have time. So one of these days I'm going to commission somebody to make swatches for me. Karen, I hope you're listening. You're the person.
Hi, Karen.
But I highly recommend, like any medium. This is something I've done in the past with other brand watercolors and stuff. Color swatches really give you a lot of inspiration. So once you've swatched your colors, just looking at them, placing them all next to each other and pick one swatch, place it next to another color and see, will that work? Does that look good? I think it just makes life easy. So that's something I would recommend doing.
Well, and it's hard too, right? Because like when we look at it on the screen, we see one thing, our eyes see one thing. Then even looking at the top of this, it's going to be a little bit different than what's in here. So yeah, I mean, I keep all mine and recommend this so that you can, like Aditi said, take them off, put them next to each other, because I can fan it out. But if you don't have them next to each other, you kind of don't know.
My biggest problem, I should have done what Bridget did, but I started off doing this.
Oh, beautiful, but ginormous.
So I couldn't complete it because, see, I needed to see how each color looks when stamped, when they are layered on top of one another. And then I gave up.
I have the Jennifer Maguire book, the binder with all the pages and each color, and then it layered together. So I do have the Jennifer Maguire system that I think so many of us have, but I found myself not, let's say not putting forth the energy to go get it. Let's put that politely, or being lazy, AKA to go get it. So I found those little ones right next to me. Like I pull those all the time because it's literally right there and it's so quick. But yeah, maybe we can send Karen over to India and she can swatch for you. I mean, Karen likes to travel. I'm sure she'll be up for it. It is. I've done that though, because I'm kind of like you where when new inks come in, if I don't swatch them immediately, it's never going to happen because you put them away and then you forget. And then you're like, what color is that? And then you don't reach for it because you don't know what it looks like. And you're like, oh, I'll have to check that later. But once you swatch it, and you can kind of put it in, because I'm like you. So many people are like, write down your color combos. And I'm like, I like to live a little fast and wild here. No. With this, it's crafting adventures, man. Adventures, you don't take maps. You don't take books. You throw it up there and you see what happens. Yeah. And so
I agree.
I like
we have a great filing system in here.
Yes. It works, 20% of the time.
I'll take bottoming.
But that's the fun, right? I mean, and sometimes too, I've found, like, I remember this great color combination and then I do it and I'm like, I don't think that was the color, but I like this. This is good. This is good. So sometimes the filing system creates new color combinations that you thought you knew, which is very exciting as well. It's like the wild, wild west of crafting. I want to keep it interesting. I think if I was too organized, it'd be boring.
Yeah. I agree.
Now you look very organized. Are you a very organized crafter?
I am an organized crafter. I maintain schedules. I maintain notebooks. And so I still use my pen to paper method because that just works for me best. I do like my product organized, kept in the right place. Otherwise, I can't think. Like my table is messy, but it still has an order to the chaos. So that's my order.
I have a sign that I have from my office that says, it looks like there's been a struggle. And then, which fits because I usually say the struggle is real. So I know where stuff is. If somebody came in here, they'd be like, oh my God, like, how do you find any? Oh, I know right where it is. I am in the process of becoming Aditi, of becoming more organized and having things have a home, a permanent home. And it's a process though. And like you said, you're so busy creating, right? By the time you're done with work and creating, you don't want to organize. Like, that's the last thing you want to do. So
I want a vacation just for organization.
Yes. And then I'm like, but if I take the vacation for organization, what's going to happen because you start organizing and you see a stamp set you've forgotten about. You're like, oh, I have to make a card with this. And then you go make a card and then you're right back in it again. That's why shop your stash, man, because we all forget what we have and you go and you're like, oh, this is so beautiful. How could I have forgotten I haven't used this yet,
I think that happened to me through my AECP journey, I have to say, because I just decided, I don't know. I woke up, I had a newsletter about the educator program, and I was like, this is something I've been wanting to do for years. Maybe the time is now. And I didn't have that many supplies. So I'm talking about beautiful day, vintage roses, those kind of stamps that I had,
Yep.
1 or 2 stencils, a few inks. That's what I started off with, for my AECP journey. And I think I've had a blast because it was stretching my supplies, shopping my stash, doing different things with the same product. And it really helped me. It helped me see outside of the box. So I highly recommend shopping the stash plus buying the new release. I'm not saying don't buy that and then shop this.
No, yes.
Do everything.
You want it all. We all have the fear of missing out, right? I mean, that's like the biggest fear is that it always seems when you go, like I know somebody that gets the bundle every month at Altenew. They get the full bundle and they don't want their name mentioned, so I'm not going to, but they get the full bundle every month because they're scared. They're like, that one thing that I'm like, maybe that doesn't fit for me in my space. It's beautiful, but I don't know what I would do with it. And they're like, that's the one thing I don't buy. And then that's the one thing I see on Instagram. And I'm like, oh my God, that's genius. I have to I didn't buy that. So like so I totally get it. And I think as crafters, we all have that, which is hard. It's very hard because there's so many beautiful things in the world,
Right.
and we want to make it all.
Yeah.
We just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Just don't have the time. Now, so you have your Altenew Academy class, you're a certified educator, and we haven't even touched on the Crafty Creator team. You're on the Crafty Creator team as well. Now, what does a Crafty Creator team member do?
So I make reels predominantly for Instagram, and I make videos for, the short videos, which you see on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram, on TikTok. So all that kind of content, that's what the Crafty Creator team does, making short inspirational content for y'all.
And it's exciting because you were on the first grouping of it as well. So you were the first group. So that must be pretty exciting.
It is. I mean, even till date, some days I'm like, really, I'm on the team. That's me. I'm on the Altenew team. I check, that map, the page on Altenew's blog where everybody's listed on the map. And I'm like, I'm on the map.
It is, though. It's because you get that. I remember when I got my educator email that I was accepted into the program. And I'm like, no, this has to be like, they must be joking. Or somebody hacked my email and is doing this just to be mean. Like, it can't be. No. And I think that's our first, like, no. So how excited were you when you got that email?
I can't even tell you. So it was when I was cooking, doing something in the kitchen, an email came, and generally email, you're not going to go and open your phone instantly. So I was like, I'll check later. I'm done with the thing. And I see Altenew, congratulations. And I'm like, what is this?
What did I do?
What is this? And I open it and I'm like, wow, I was jumping. And then I jumped out and I couldn't even speak. So I'm blabbering to my husband. He's like, what? And then I'm like, I don't think you'll understand. So I called my mom because, she would be as like to me, right? And I'm the same thing. And she's like, what? And then I was like, I'm on the Altenew team. I don't know. So she's like, what? Wow, oh my God. Everybody just went crazy with that. So, and my husband knows Altenew very well. He's made a viral video with it. So he had to be as excited as me.
I know, we do drag our spouses in, don't we? Like, I remember we used to have the virtual workshops during COVID, and every class I'd go out and be like, oh, look what I made. Oh, this is pretty. I like the composition. I like this color, and he was right in it, man. He was not a critic, but he was analyzing and giving feedback, like, oh, I love this color combo, and the placement of the flower is really pretty next to the he knew the words, like the sentiment. And so he knew the lingo. They learned the lingo. Yeah. I think our spouses learn the lingo.
They have to.
And your husband's a hoot. I'll just say your husband is a hoot. He's a funny guy. So, what has it been like? And what have you kind of learned working on the Crafty Creator team?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun, simply because I love making reels. I love making short form videos. So it just comes naturally to me. And I've learned a lot through the process because, like I said, we're always evolving. So even though I know a lot about social media, this process of creating these videos has taught me so much more, bettered my technology aspects as well, given me more ideas. Earlier in my reels, I never showed my face. It was always my hands. Now you see my face too.
Yes.
So it's just I'm learning. I think I'm getting better at that too. So it's a journey. Plus interacting with people, being a part of this fabulous community, the meetings we have every month, things just like that. Just staying connected with the community, learning from one another. I'm always inspired by every other design team member. Honestly,
Yes.
I think everybody creates magic every single month with the release. So it's always inspiring.
And that's one of the things I love about all of our designers is everybody is so different and so unique in their own way. So there's something for everybody, right? Like no matter what you feel is your kind of style that you like to make, because we make it all. Everybody makes it all eventually. I mean, even I do mixed media sometimes, but I'm a clean and simple card kind of gal. But, I think that's the great thing is everybody can come and learn something a little bit different and take something from each of the fabulous artists and really build like their crafting bag, the crafty toolbox, so to speak. And I think that's fantastic because who is it that does a lot of, is it Avis that does a lot of like the interactive cards, and that's something we haven't seen at Altenew in a while. So it was exciting to start seeing some interactive cards on the channel or shaped cards, or and so I think that's awesome as well. Now, what's your favorite part about getting the design package? So, I mean, I know obviously getting the package, but beyond that, beyond getting the package, when you open it, is it just the excitement of seeing everything in there? Do you go for something first that you get? Do you like stamps or stencils or gem sparkles, or what's your favorite thing?
I look at everything. Like I lay out everything, look at everything, see the new ink, see everything. I have to like study. It's almost like I'm studying each product, looking at the sentiments in the set, doing all of that. And then I see what sparks joy in me first. Like, something I've almost always, I have an idea instantly, either with Craft a Flower or Build a Garden, one of those sets. And I'm just like, okay, let's start with this and then we'll take it forward from there. So I would say everything.
I think I'm living in the Craft a Flower too. And the Build a Garden is it's so versatile. Usually, a lot of times now we get like a pattern stencil in the back too. Yeah. So when they have room, they throw in all these extras to do. But it just as a set in itself, the stenciling and the beautiful image and the sentiments and the free blending tool each month that comes with a kit is very exciting too. Get to build up that blending tool arsenal because we always need blending tools.
I was just counting mine yesterday, so.
People here understand. See, that's the great thing. Most places you can't go and like, oh yeah, I was counting my blending brushes, and people would be like, "You're doing what?" And here, everybody's like, "Oh, me too." I've been known. The Altenew brushes are so soft. I've been known to rub a new one on my face. It's like, oh, it's so soft and nice. And I like to have one of the larges for the family, just so I kind of keep true to the color that's there. You can also do that by spraying alcohol on a microfiber cloth and just cleaning it lightly. You can do that too. You don't need to do that. But so I had a new one and I was like, oh yes, this is the magic. Now we can ink blend. I'm very excited. The things only crafters understand. So if a non-crafter has wandered into this, they're probably like, counting your brushes, what? So what number are you up to, if you don't mind
32.
Sharing? Excellent.
For the minis.
Excellent. So
the minis.
Are you doing the Roy G. Biv where you have one for each color, or are you doing like a light and a dark? How do you do your brushes?
So right now, that's how I do it. Like I have 2 for each color, 3 it's come down to three. So light, mid, dark. But then,
Nice.
like sun-kissed versus warm and cozy. I can't have the same for both, right? One is a
Yeah.
pastel orange, one is a vibrant. So then I have to divide. So for that reason, I was counting mine yesterday, wondering how further can I segregate, and where, the new blending brushes with the Builder Garden, I save them, and then I decide, which color family can I put you to?
See, I got so excited when the micro brushes came out. I just started grabbing them for colors. And now I have like this beautiful jewel tone array of brushes, but like not helpful when you're trying to do like mountain mist or like sun-kissed. Not helpful. No. So yeah, I did order some more, and I'm going to sit down and strategically make choices on colors, because I just went like, colors! Like, it didn't work out. JC has we learned during the last retreat, JC has a great system where he has one for each color, but he has 4 brushes. So you get the light, the mid-tone, dark, and dark. So I was like, that is genius. So I think I might progress that way with the micro. I think it's a good plan. Sure. You got to plan your supplies too. You got to plan the work and plan the supplies. What is a behind the scenes kind of crafty creator team moment that you really enjoy?
Like I said, so the meetings we have every month, I really enjoy, because we get to meet everybody face to face, of course, virtually. Zoom. But you get to interact, you get to see what's coming up, a peek at things, just discuss, throw off ideas, brainstorm. I think that's something I really enjoy.
Those meetings are fantastic, because we have one on our side, on the internal team side. And it's great because I get so many ideas during those meetings. It's putting all these creative people in one space. And it's almost like when the computer gets overloaded, you're like, I could do this, I could do that.
Right.
Now, do you remember your ideas from when you see a preview of it to when you get your box? Or do you think you just get new ideas once the box comes?
Once the box comes.
It's all new. Those are memories.
Yeah. Previews, I'm just looking at, it's interesting what's there, what's coming. But once the box comes, I need to have things physically in my hand to generate ideas.
To do it. Yeah. And it's hard. Recently, I had to plan a workshop, and I was given a picture. And I'm like, okay, I think I would do this, because it's hard. You don't know if like the stamps fit together, or can you layer them together, or what if it looked like over here? And I'm like, okay, I got this. I think this is what I'm going to do. Once I get it in my hands, I'll test my theory. Hopefully my eyeball was correct in doing that. So, but it is hard to plan, and know, yep, I'm doing this. But I do get ideas when I see those. I'm like, that would look nice with tranquility, or that would look nice in orange, but by the time it gets here, gone. That's where the notebook would come in handy. I just would lose the notebook. So there's no point. Now, do you have a favorite project that you've made recently with one of your crafty creator projects?
Crafty creator projects. I can't think of anything, but I have many other projects sitting here. Some I can't show you. Can I? I mean, right now I would say chromatic harmony projects are my favorite.
Yes, those are my. I like I said, I get a picture and it's like Aditi said, you get notification, you're like, yeah, I'll check it in a minute. Then you open, you're like, like it's very exciting.
But I can show this recent project I'm proud of for the watercoloring.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This
gorgeous.
I spent 7 or 8 hours watercoloring this image, but it is totally worth it. Totally.
And that's the thing. This is, again, the only place you can say, I spent 8 hours watercoloring this, and people are like, oh, that was worth it. Other people would be like, you did what? But you get so much out of it. Like we were talking, in the beginning, it's really therapeutic and it's really comforting. And some days you need 8 hours of watercolor. You just do. It's just a day, yeah, you need it. And I think that's one of the most important things I hope that people will take from this. Aditi has told us many wonderful things, but also I thought it was really important when you said about the creative block and you're like, I know I need rest. I know I need to take it. And I think so many of us are not good at that. Especially anybody that works with a deadline is not good with that. They're like, I'll just push through, I'll push through. But I think that's really important because it affects everything, right? It affects everything. So I think that's my key moment I'm taking away is, you have to have the rest before you can be creative, which, it's sometimes we're like, why am I not creative? And then you think back and you're like, okay, well, I haven't been drinking water. I haven't been sleeping well, and all these little bits and bobs come in, and that's maybe part of the problem with your creative process. So it's really the first step, is take good care of yourself, and then you can be creative and share everything.
I agree.
Now, we have a lot of people that would love to be a design team member or a crafty creator team member, and they want to share their creations with the world in an official capacity, I guess. I don't know how to word that correctly. But what's your advice for somebody that is starting out and their dream is to be on a design team?
I think it really matters on setting your goals right. So if there's a design team you want to be on, first see if it matches your style. You can't wish to be on a design team when you don't enjoy using that product, right? So I always say, if you're good at it, if you're good at using the product and that's your goal, then keep at it. Keep creating with it, keep sharing on social media. Today, social media is the thing, right? Back in the day, it was blogging. Today, it's all about Facebook and Instagram, and it is, unfortunately. So keep sharing, keep showing your work. But above all, just stay patient. Like, I have been chosen to be a part of Altenew's team after 10 years, right? I mean, ever since Altenew began, or, I started working with Altenew, I dreamt of being on the team, but it has taken me a decade. So I would say patience. When you really at it constantly and you get better at it, then you know yourself that I'm able to handle it. Plus, getting into a design team, you need to know what you're getting into. So you have deadlines. You have a number of projects you need to finish in a month. You should be able to commit to that. It's not that, I will pick and create something in my free time. No, then you have to prioritize. You have to make sure you're submitting your work timely, getting the job done. So it is a job, ultimately.
Yeah,
I would say that.
It is. And I think that's, we kind of talked in the green room, as I call it, a little bit before about this, is that so many people they want that design team badge, but it's all the stuff that goes with that badge. That it's a job. It literally is a job, even though it's creative, it's a job. And I mean, like you said, you have meetings and you have deadlines and and sometimes it happens where you're out of creative juice. You're done. You have nothing. And it's like, my card's due tomorrow. You got to figure it out, and that's the hard thing. It's not, I'll figure it out next week. It's not, it's, you've got to make it, and you've got to kind of put it together. And so it's fun. But it is a hard job. So yes. But you'd hear that a lot. Everybody wants to be on a design team. And there's a special camaraderie on them, which is fun. You get to chat with everybody and you talk about the releases, and it's exciting. But it's also, I think you phrased that very well, is make sure you have that time commitment to put to it. And you're on a few, so you
it's like,
you have no time.
Exactly. So you need to know what you're committing to. I mean, at the top of my head right now, when you said that, I was just thinking, when you see my reel, it's a minute long, but I've spent about 6 or 7 hours working on it. So that's the kind of work.
That's like your watercolor card, right? You're going to show that and people are, oh, that's so beautiful. They don't know like the 8-9 hours that went into that card. They're not thinking about that, behind the scenes. They just see this beautiful card, which is awesome. But, that's the other thing. Because when we make videos, my videos usually come out to, I like to stay 5-7 minutes, but that's usually like an hour and a half of creating it, another probably hour of editing it. And so, yeah, when you start adding the time in, it's not fast. It's so remember that when you see all these beautiful projects from all the amazing designers, just make sure you give the love and the hearts and all that stuff, because that's a lot of time that went into 30 seconds. Yeah. And you made time for us today, so thank you, because I know you're very, very busy and working on the classes on top of everything. So very busy. So I appreciate you making time for the podcast today. We are going to test Aditi's creativity here with the random word association game, because we love the random word association game. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to test and see how she does with this. Okay, are you ready for your first word?
Can I be ready? I don't know. Just shoot.
I think so. I think this one will be very easy. I think this one's very easy. Mm-hmm. Okay, the first one is frame.
Oh, the deco frame cover die from Altenew.
Excellent. See, that one was easy. This one's a little trickier, but I think you can connect it very easily. I don't think it will trip you up. I think you'll go perfectly through it. It is muscle.
Die cutting.
Excellent. Yes. Or I was thinking the brain, like use your brain muscle. I know, not a muscle, but we call it a muscle.
I mean, I think I wrote recently in the blog brain muscle. So
there we go. I must have seen that. That's why, because I immediately was like, brain muscle. No, you just mentioned blog. Are you a big fan of the blog? Because you said something about now it's Facebook and Instagram. Do you miss blogs? Do you miss blogging? Or are you an Instagram gal?
Yeah, now I'm an Instagram gal, I would say, yeah.
When Instagram came along, I'm like, oh yes. Like there's no like 5-page essay you have to write. I'm like, oh, this is terrific.
I'd rather film the process than take photos and write the steps. I don't know.
Yes. And I think you get to connect to your audience so much more in that manner, as opposed to step 1, create a card base, and you're like, oh, okay, here we go, and breaking it down, as they say. So, okay. And your final word, this one might be trickier, is basketball.
Okay.
I have to tell you, the Crafty Gnomes have been well behaved for like the past 5 podcasts, and today I don't know who the guest is next month, but because the Crafty Gnomes are awake.
I can only think about the circle dice, the nested dice. When you say basketball, I can think of
it's round.
It's round. Then I also thought about something weird, but scrapbooking days, back in the scrapbooking days, there were collections with all of these things, sports, and people wanting albums made out of it. So that was my second association. But first thing was the nested dies.
And that, round, orange, see, it connects. That you made that look effortless. I was like, oh, I was scared when I saw the word. So, and then the collections. Pumpkins, yes, round, pumpkins, basketball. I did say 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, so, you can separate. So pumpkins, and we just released so many beautiful pumpkins. Exactly. There are pumpkins in the Cozy Comfort. We have a lot of gorgeous pumpkins and the Pretty Pumpkin die set. So you had a lot of good answers for that.
Yes.
And I do actually have a basketball paper collection right across from me. So when you said that, I'm like, I got one of those because my husband was a coach. So I'm like, yay. So you made that look flawless. That was, the Crafty Gnomes weren't tripping you. You got I think you beat the Crafty Gnomes. We always love it when we can beat a crafty gnome, don't we? Because they're little hijinks. Sometimes they're funny, but most of the time, no. Well, thank you so much, Aditi, for making time today to give us a little bit about your history and the excitement of your class and the excitement of the Crafty Creator team. And please keep sharing everything because we love all the
Oh,
projects.
thank you. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed being here. So thank you.
It's fun when you can put a story behind somebody that you just see photos all the time and a quick reel now with your face, which is fantastic. So yes, it's nice to have your face in the reels. But it's lovely that you can connect a story and connect to, like, oh, I used to scrapbook with my mom like she did. And, so I love that you were able to come on and share your story with more folks. I've been so blessed to know Aditi for a while now. She comes to free Saturday workshops. So it's been a pleasure to have you as a friend for all these years. So it's just fabulous. And to our fabulous audience, thank you so much for either listening to us on the podcast or watching us on YouTube. You can do both if you didn't know that. You can either listen wherever podcasts are, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, I believe, has podcasts. So we're everywhere podcasts are, but we also are on YouTube where you can actually watch the interview. And thank you for watching along with us. Don't forget to tune in next month to see who the amazing guest will be and what we'll find out and learn about this fabulous crafting industry. From all of us at Altenew, don't forget to craft your life. We'll see you next month. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and everywhere you can find podcasts to keep up with every new episode. Email us at support@altenew.com with your feedback. And don't forget to craft your life.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching.